Remix. 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 Remix.
Peace. Welcome to the Remix Morning Show. Lord, Geechee, how you feeling?
I'm doing great today. We both say we both a little sleepy, but we got a lot to do for the weekend, the holidays coming up. So I'm good. How about you?
Same, man. Tired, trying to get some last minute stuff done. Feel like I'm running around Atlanta, but I don't know.
Yep. And we're missing somebody today, so folks don't send out the search party. Amber is currently sharpening herself in Puerto Rico, so not able to join us. Might pop in.
That's what they call. That's what they call it. Sharpening yourself in Puerto
Rico. That's what I'm gonna call it. What's up, y'all? Morning. But our boy, my comrade Josh, laced us with some stories, so we're in good hands. Should be some interesting things to look through. Good follow-up from last week's conversation. And yeah, now you're seeing our check-in question today. Let us know yours as well. Is what is your guilty pleasure? Your greatest guilty pleasure or victory pleasure? Examples like the NFL come to mind. So Geechee, what's your favorite guilty pleasure?
I had to actually think about that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe like, eating a bunch of I don't even know if I eat a bunch of sweets, but I do like brownies and sweets and desserts and stuff.
I feel like that's not even guilty though, because in moderation, those aren't too bad, unless you really can't control yourself.
No, I think I can. Like sometimes I might eat like some gummies late. I don't. Yeah, I gotta think. What you got?
Yeah, no, that was for me because it's not really the NFL or anything like that. At this point, with how it's been shaping up, I'm gonna say anime. Honestly, I love it, but it is a very problematic genre, and I'm sure we're gonna explore all of that soon. But I had to quit one recently because it depicted content warning, but sexual assault of a young girl pretty vividly. But it's a popular one right now. So folks in the audience might know Gachia Kuta. But yeah, I mean, I had to quit that. I still love the genre. I still watch. I'm detoxing. It used to be stuff like comics and stuff. I know Dr. Todd Stephen Burrows is a super Marvel fan, so I just follow him for the updates now. But I was able to kind of wean myself off the cape shit after Endgame. So it's no longer none of the Marvel things, none of that stuff. But anime is 1 degree removed at this point. So I'm gonna say that. Chat, y'all got any guilty pleasures, any problematic faves that you want to share today? Drop it in the chat. Eating at what the hell o'clock in the morning is it? Yeah, I just did that. I just had some Haitian food at like 1 a.m. That's not the best. We shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, I think, yeah, man. I maybe like what I'm trying to think of is probably has something to do with eating. Like there's this vegan spot called Mission Burger in Atlanta. They be having some hella expensive but good burgers, vegan burgers, and I'll like hit them up a little bit too much. I'm thinking about like there's a what you call it, series, the Equalizer by
with Denzel.
No, the series, Queen Latifah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, me and my partner been watching that, and although like the whole time I'm like, frustrated about all the shit because it's all like it started out with Venezuela and Cuba, and it's like the ex CIA supposed to be a family person, and they've turned that to good and working with the police, and I'm like, I'm watching it, but the whole time I'm just like, oh boy, and then but I'm getting carried into different plots. Um, and so we just, I mean, it was something that we decided to watch together. And a couple of times she'd be like, "You want to just stop?" And because I'd be, like, "Hey, this shit go." So probably something like that, like either something watching a series just cause, or yeah, just eating too many mission burgers.
So I know Amber loves to get into the relationship things, but what you just said reminds me I can't do Law and Order at all. Like, oh, that show makes me sick to my stomach, and my partner likes it, and I was like, nah, I can't do it. She's like, well, you like propaganda? You like Brooklyn Nine-Nine? And I was like, I'll quit that show to show you how much I hate Law and Order, and I sure did. I'm like, if I got to trade that. R.I.P. Andre Brower, R.I.P. Hope. Like, I'm good. So yeah, I think the consumption. To be fair, I like the equalizers, the Denzel movies, he's just a good man, fighting crime, helping the common man, helping the underdog. Oh, Grease, listen, I mean, they are not. I think Law and Order is in a league of its own. As shows like Cops or CSI, it's one of those classics. But they all are propaganda at the end of the day. I've heard, why not make Brooklyn Nine-Nine just in a post office? And I completely agree. Show wouldn't lose much. It would still be fascinating. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think man, did I watch it? I feel like I watched it one time with my home. No, it wasn't Miami Vice or something. Like my homeboy from home, he just started like act. Well, I think he started out in one of those J Lo videos, and then he got into I don't know if Cookout. You remember the movie The Cookout?
No, I don't.
With it was Queen Latifah and I don't remember who was in there, but my homeboy was in there too. And I saw him pop up in Law and Order. I was like, that's probably the only episode I ever watched. His name Kevin Phillips, and I was like, is it something like Law and Order? I'm not sure, but whatever it was, I think that's the only time I watched it.
No, I'm more interested in this Cookout. So the staff, I mean, not staff is funny. The cast, Queen Latifah, Danny Glover, Ja Rule, Megan Good, Jennifer Lewis. Now I gotta watch this. Hold on. Wait a minute. Corny, Eve, is it here? Okay.
Yeah, it's corny. He was a doctor, and his mom was trying to get him to be an NBA player like his cousin, but he didn't really want to do that. It was just goofy. It was goofy. Actually, he was in Pride too, the swim movie with Bernie Mac and Terrence Howard. And then I think he was in Notorious. But that's the only time I watched Law and Order I can remember. If it was Law and Order that he was on one of them little shows really quick, and I was like,
yeah, no, I can't.
Now New York Undercover back in the days. Malik Torres and them. Oh,
I gotta check. See, so people get me like this all the time. Like I've watched a lot of the classics, but there are plenty I'm missing. I'm gonna add to my bag. I haven't seen Set It Off yet. Still haven't.
I don't know if The Cookout is a classic though. I feel like it was like a low budget, popular movie, but low budget still. It didn't seem like it was. I don't remember it hitting. Like even Queen Latifah in a Common movie was bigger than.
Yeah, because I mean, this cast definitely is a 2004 movie, like no question. Looking at that cast, I'm looking at it. We actually maybe could transition into this new movie coming out in this trailer. But my comrades we were going through Spike Lee's catalog, and we were saying, when did you stop? Like when was it like, all right, this is no longer like good black films? I know a lot of people list Malcolm X. I kind of put that one in its own category. but my comrade is really trying to get us all to look at Bamboozled. That's another one I haven't seen yet, but I know it's a really popular one. I'm trying to remember. I think for me, if we do Spike Lee's filmography, I'm gonna do that and then pull it up. There was a specific one where I was just like, nah, I can't. I watched the movie. It was like he was trying. I wouldn't say it was the most successful.
I mean, if I'm honest, I ain't even know a lot of this shit was his.
Right. All right. So she's got to have it. Obviously, School Days, obviously, Do the Right Thing. So I've seen all these three, like the first three, no question, in the 80s. Malcolm X is the one, of course, everyone's got problems with.
I don't even know if I watched School Days. I think Mo Better Blues, Do the Right Thing, and She's Gotta Have It. Probably watch it afterwards. Jungle Fever, Crooklyn.
So see, like this is like, do you think Jungle Fever is a good movie?
I don't even remember it.
I see.
Wesley Snipes was in that?
Yeah, the interracial relationship is a key component, but it's not the only component. There's like the crack epidemic comes up. What else? There's like, I mean, there's other racism within the neighborhoods, like between Italians and African Americans, that kind of thing. But
I do remember Stevie Wonder's song on the soundtrack. That's it.
I do remember that as well. See, I had to watch Four Little Girls, but that one isn't the same kind of category of movie. The 90s was just an interesting period. And then I think I liked He Got Game. That was cool.
Yeah, I did watch it.
Bamboozle, we got to watch that. Apparently it's a B&B thing. Did you ever see his Huey P. Newton story, though? Because I didn't. I've never seen it.
Which one? Where?
It says he's had a Huey P. Newton story in 2001. It was a 90-minute piece.
I don't remember that. I don't
Me
think
either.
So.
This is the stuff.
Where in 96?
Well, I went up to 2001.
Wait, when was the Huey thing post?
Huey was in 2001, a Huey P. Newton story.
Oh yeah, I don't see that on.
Right after Bamboozle. Yeah, if you go when we go up above Malcolm X, the road, He Got Game. I enjoyed that one. I like that movie. I think it's funny Denzel was actually trying to beat Ray Allen behind the scenes. And got smacked. But he got his points in.
Oh yeah.
And then Bamboozled, I haven't seen. And then a Huey P. Newton story was apparently in 2001. I know for me, the inflection point was probably 2004.
Wait, who he let play Huey Newton? That what's that?
Did he? I think it looks more like it's a documentary. Let's check this out.
It's the I forgot that dude. He don't normally have good roles.
It's an American film adaptation by Spike Lee, starring. Let's see. I don't know what this is.
Marcus Garvey Awards for Audience. What? Jamaican film.
Images are shown from the activist movement, the simple arrangement. I don't know, chat. If y'all have seen this, chat, let us know. I have not. But I think we definitely doing Bamboozle. Oh, that's a dope one-man play. It's a one-man play. Okay. That's different. I got to check this out. I have not seen this.
And it's dope.
Maybe it might be. That's what I'm saying. We're doing an evolution of Spike Lee because I know some of these movies I would classify as pretty good, some not so much. And then we hit that 2000s era, and right around this movie, She Hate Me. I don't know if y'all have seen this one. It's interesting. It's definitely not something you would see in Hollywood now, I don't think. But the premise is a mess. It's kind of all over the place. Yeah. That's the one. And I think after that, we start going downhill. Black Klansman is one of the worst, in my opinion. But people say the Five Bloods, probably because of the imperialism. So maybe it's the Five Bloods. Maybe it's Black Klansman. Maybe it's Chirac. I've heard all of those are terrible. But I've only seen Black Klansman.
The Huey P. Newton is on YouTube. Revolutionary Lumping Radio. It's an hour and 26 minutes.
All right. That's homework. We got to check that out. I'm down. We also have another movie coming out. So, last week we didn't get to do the Michael Jackson trailer. So do you want to do that, or you want to do this Night Patrol? Because I've seen combos about both.
Well,
so you want to do Michael Jackson, or you want to do this new Night Patrol thing, which is like a Sinners knockoff? What you thinking?
A Sinners. Maybe.
Yeah.
Before we get to that, we gotta play this little clip, bro.
All right, let's do it.
I'll just
stop sharing my screen.
I'll just hear you jump. Cause I ain't never seen this in my whole life.
Yeah, we got to see what we looking at. Hold on. Okay.
Wait, how
okay.
you?
Everything coming out of blues, even this new thing that these kids got going on with the Sugar Hill kids. What they call them, the Sugar Hill kids, huh? With the new thing, what they call it, the rap, like H. Rap Brown, right? The rap. Okay, that's okay. I understand that correlation. Okay, rap. I was watching a news program just the other evening on the public broadcast, and they was doing a documentary on these
Got his voice
kids
down.
in Brooklyn, Bed-Stuy, Bedford-Stuyvesant. Now, Bed-Stuy, I think that's where the Panther headquarters was bulldozed. No, it wasn't bulldozed in Bed-Stuy. That was in New Orleans. I get my pigs mixed up. But he was interviewing these kids out on the street, black Puerto Rican kids, and they was asking them what they want to be when they grow up. And the kids were saying, I want to be doctor, lawyer, chief of staff, armed forces. And they asked this one little chubby boy, I think his name was Christopher, funny eye, and they asked him what he want to be when they grow up. And he said, well, when I grow up, I haven't really made up my mind, but when I grow up, I want to be either a gangster or a rapper. And they said, can you do an example of the rap? Because I guess they didn't want no example of the gangster. So just think, Christopher say, yeah, I can do an example of it. And then the little boy just snatched up the man mic right up out of his hand. Oh my God, it was notorious. He just snatched up the man mic. He said, this is the rap I'm gonna do when I get big, because he was small, but he figured he's gonna get big. He said, this is the rap I'm gonna do. He said, birthdays was the worst day, but now we sip champagne when we thirsty. Yeah, I love that, man. I love that. That's brilliant, man. I love the way he rhymed up birthday and Thursday, man. That's almost as good as hotel motel, boy. I tell you, boy. And I hope he achieve his dream. I really do. I hope he achieve his dream. I hope his dream don't turn out to be like Dr. King's dream. Ooh, that turned out to be a nightmare. But it make me feel good to know that this child's gonna be around for a long time. But I don't know if the rap thing is gonna last. I can't imagine anybody outside of Brooklyn wanting to buy it. He might be better off as a gangster, because America can always use a new gangster, especially in the White House. But maybe he can somehow combine his interests, put the gangster together with the rap, like a double major.
Yeah, I don't know if I can watch it.
I don't know what this is. This a Huey Newton comedy show?
Yeah, I don't know about. I mean, he had the voice down, but I don't know if I can watch a whole hour.
Yeah, excellent voice, excellent casting. Like that looks like Huey, with the dimple on his nose, the afro. Like that was some good casting. I can tell he looked and studied the role, but that's a lot of these folks, right? But it's like the depth to it. I don't know if I read Revolutionary Suicide and then I immediately tried to embody Huey, if those would be the jokes I'm telling. Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't. Yeah, our faces kind of sold it on. I wasn't much of a fan of that, but I'll check it out. It definitely is an interesting concept. Because he does some crowd work. Absolutely. It's funny because Chidi Macha pointed out, I saw that actor in Dope. He's like a villain, and I actually really love Dope, although it is kind of.
No, he got a lot of, like, I think ain't he in the Malcolm movie? He's in a lot of movies.
Yeah.
They typecast him a lot with addicts or drug dealers. Like he kind of stays in the drug type cast.
Yeah, and that's why I don't know if they'll get his full depth. But I mean, interesting stuff. Still, like more valuable conversation-wise, content-wise, than I think a lot of Spike's recent stuff. To be clear. All right, so we got to. All right, we're gonna do a movie breakdown. We're gonna have some fun. I'm gonna pull up this new thing and an exercise. I'm only pulling it up because this exercise I did with some comrades and students at our revolutionary organizing school. Let me see. Okay. The content of the plan, that's the film, is drawn directly from Newton's own words. Smith used his writings, interviews, and recorded conversations to create the monologue. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, it does sound like something that Huey would say in the end, not in the end, but later on when he was kind of like had that little twitch a little bit, but I don't know.
No, I'm interested. I'll definitely, Siraj, we'll build about this. I'm curious. I also think, depending on the consciousness of the person, then the things they choose to pull from that will be different. Like for me, when I read Rev Suicide, the stuff I was pulling was like when he explains dialectical materialism, when he talks about why they call people pigs, how it was a strategic thing that they tested other terms and it was related to Black people's experience in the South. So the kind of stuff that I think I would be drawn to pull for that might be different than what like Spike or these other folks might have pulled for that monologue. But yeah, and we're not going to say it wasn't Huey because there was at least an attempt to respect his likeness. All right. Now this nude tray. All right, I'm already seeing some of these thumbnails are scaring me. Hang on, let's just get into it, Geechee. I need help processing this stuff. So, all right, first of all, this thumbnail, not this one up here.
The AI
this one right here looks so creepy.
Is that AI?
This looks like AI.
Okay.
That does not look like Michael Jackson. That's scary. All right. But anyway, we're going to get into this trailer. Let's see. I never watched it all the way through. Comrade said I had to. I saw Lionsgate and I clicked out.
Lionsgate and walked out the gate. Right.
Got to be here for our people. So I'm going to suffer through this. I don't know if I can watch it though, but I can watch the trailer. All right.
The large screen.
Start there. All right, let me go large screen.
I know you've been waiting a long time for this. Tracks are made. The songs are ready. Let's take it from the top. This is your story. Honor your past.
So you wanna be starting something?
And embrace the future. That's what people want.
Q, can you lower the lights for me, please?
Okay, but remember, in here, keep those feet still, my man.
Okay, that's Mike. That's Michael.
You look like his news was AI too. Oh,
Just... Okay, interesting. So, I mean, whatever. It's a biopic, right? Like they all are kind of a mess. What I'm interested in is this a Black movie? Right. And the way I got my comrade students to think about that question is what Sugar Shan did. So I just paused at this screen right here and asked this question: who is John Logan? Who is this guy? Like, what the hell? So the way I did this exercise in the past was we did Coming to America because it was a very popular thing. One of the members of the program had put it up just before we started the session and was watching clips and laughing from it. So I was like, yo, is Coming to America a Black movie? And then, of course, the question feels like, well, maybe. Like, it's kind of obvious, right? There's a lot of Black people in it. Black people love it. All those things. And then I was like, okay, cool. Let's do a quick experiment. Who wrote Coming to America? And then we do the experiment, and they're like, oh, wait, it's all white people. Barry Blaustein and David Sheffield. Those don't sound like very African names to me. So then we did who produced Coming to America. And you also see it was white screenwriters, white producers, white everything. You know, white film company, white production company. So I just think that's really useful if y'all are talking to folks about this kind of thing who really see it as a form of representation, to ask, you know, who's funding it, who wrote it, right? All of those things. But they have this strategy that we have to talk about, which is the Black director strategy. right?
Mhm.
So Antoine Fuqua, I think, works with Denzel, has worked on some famous movies. He's a black director, right? So they're gonna put a black person in here, but the entire strings, right, being put behind this are white people. So I looked up, for example, Graham King. Wait, I was sharing the wrong screen. Okay. So Graham King, sorry, is this guy. So he did Bohemian Rhapsody, whatever. I don't really know. And then the other one was John Logan. So this is a white dude. He's a producer if you go on his Wikipedia page. And this other person, John Logan, is another Bohemian Rhapsody producer. So those were two people who I look up and I'm like, huh, this is interesting. And there's also somebody in this film. So we got a white screenwriter, we got a white producer, and there's also a white person in charge of Michael Jackson's estate. So that's the third element of this that I was kind of like, okay, so how did they get the music? Because that's the only real thing you need for this biopic. Like you can cast whoever you want and write whatever script you want. At the end of the day, people are there to see the music in IMAX, right? Like that's all we care about. So if it's a white person who controls Michael Jackson's estate, that's how they got access to the music. So all these things, not to say, don't watch the film. We talked about our guilty pleasures at the start. People are going to watch what they watch, draw what they draw. But just be aware this is a white movie. It is a white created, funded, produced film about Michael Jackson. So that's why we do Vernon philosophy here on BLM. That's my Michael take. I'm sorry I had to get that out there. You want to do Night Patrol and talk about these killer vampires?
Yeah. I think I'm Michael Jackson out, or Michael Jackson impersonation out. I do. Was that Spellman? Mr. What is it? Mr. Spellman? Mr. Sophomore Spellman event. And one of the performers, he did perform a Michael Jackson joint. He did really well, but I am actually really tired of it. And so yeah, I don't know. I just think the global popularity of Michael is it's out of our hands. It's a wrap. That man ain't never gonna rest. He gonna be forever. Almost like I think Michael Jackson and artists like Michael Jackson, who becomes a global phenomenon, it makes it harder for us to have a struggle around cultural work, the responsibility of artists, and this expression and entertainment. It's almost like they're gonna like use Michael Jackson for the rest of our lives to force us to think that art is apolitical, entertainment is apolitical, and then when they share his protest songs, it's gonna be like, oh, this is as radical as Black people have been, should be, and forever will be. So every time I see it, Michael Jackson charted out, whether it be videos of impersonators going to corporate board meetings and events and just regular things, it's like, I don't know, I'm just so.
Yeah, it's all the things you said. It's a clean, great man narrative as well. Like you can just focus on Michael as this excellent performer. I'm sure the story will show some background and things like that, but I'm always, again, historical materialism. Like what was the soil from which Michael Jackson grew? What were the Black musical traditions he's drawing from, right? Because I feel like that is something when Michael Jackson becomes so huge, he becomes America's pop star, not Black America's pop star. And we just lose that. So, I mean, I appreciate that. I think the movie will try and do a good job of making it clear that Michael still appreciated and valued his Black identity. However, he struggled through it. And I think that's one of the more powerful things about Michael Jackson is he still claimed to be Black. There was not a moment where he necessarily ran from that. I listened to him yesterday, and he, the Dark Child producer tag, there's like a song where that comes on and Mike's like, yeah, I like that. So I appreciated Michael for always still staying tied to his Blackness, but that does not mean that that's how the commercial industry treats him, or that he was very principled in that ties to his Blackness. Because I know he was trying to do pop crossovers. There's a whole story about that. And then when the white people were racist to him, then he shows up with the Fruit of Islam, that kind of thing. So, that's a real Black bougie thing to do. is when white racists come out. Now you're like, oh, okay, I'm black again. I need the
May-
black
may-
community back here.
maybe he was buying black though. He was paying for black security. That's buying black, right? That's probably
Yeah, I mean, that's what he's supporting, black business. Okay, some interest in Michael lore, Keontae. So Michael Love Hip Hop is something that's said. But what's interesting, if you look into some background, I don't know, it's a he said, she said situation. But on the 90s album, apparently Quincy was trying to get Michael into some hip hop production early. And Michael Jackson was quoted saying, hip hop is dead in the 90s. So I don't know if Quincy's telling the truth or Michael, maybe he loved hip hop later. I know he talks about loving Rick Ross and all that. But
really?
yeah, Michael Jackson.
That was before you ain't even know it. Verses came out.
Michael Jackson don't be listening. Michael was talking about Rick Ross's ad libs. Michael was like, I like that Rick Ross said, oh, he's not talking about Rick Ross's.
Man, there.
Oh man.
He's a monster out here.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you. That's what I'm saying, Chitty Macho. There, the environment as well. We want to obviously give some individual critique of how he moved, but we also want to know the environment he was a part of.
So really quickly, Jared said that he not only watched that Huey joint, he interviewed the actor, and then Entume was there, saw the live show, and then also seen the recording. A long while ago. So.
Is that on the check with Jared if that's on the platform. Definitely would love to see if he's got that on that mix, what I like in the archive somewhere.
Let's see how political. Let me, Michael Jackson. Yeah. All I want to know is they don't really care about a skin, head, dead head, everybody going back.
Oh, that song is not good.
That's his protest song.
That is his protest song. We could look at. I mean, you want to look at the lyrics? We do it on Michael Jackson.
Beat me, hate me, you will never break me.
And I like that. Okay, so I have argument about that song. Jumi Sumi was so he got in trouble. Oh, let's pull up the lyrics, Geechee. So he gets in trouble because this protest song is the Black Bourgeoisie. So a lot of this is tied into Michael's own personal stuff, where that becomes basically their individual struggles are supposed to be representative of the movement. And sometimes they can be, but usually they ain't, right? So Michael Jackson apparently is dealing with his label and with property rights and access to his music and all of those things. And like Ice Cube, like many other Black musicians at the time, there's a pretty lazy reactionary anti-Semitism to exploitation by white capitalists who are sometimes Jewish. So Michael got in trouble with this song for a verse where he talks about you can never kill me, Jew me, sue me, everybody do me. So he's talking about, an anti-Semitic trope about Jewish people coming after his stuff. So, not the most radical protest song. He also does that typical like both sides kind of situation in some places. I'm trying to see where this is what it is. So the thing I don't like about this song is he talks about like if certain people were alive, this wouldn't be going down. So he says Dr. King is one of them, but I think he says Kennedy is one, and then you can see this trash right here. If Roosevelt was living, he wouldn't let this be. Oh, Michael, we needed some political education, Michael.
The government don't want to see what
that ain't.
Well, I wonder how if they're gonna put that in that film, how they gonna interact with the song, what they gonna do.
Yeah, I know, because it'll probably be like what they did in the Bob Marley film, where it's a big emotional moment, or in the NWA movie, big emotional moment. He performs it. There's some white person looking there mad, and then this is like, oh, he's so powerful. I think that's probably how they're gonna do it.
But is that like the Byron Allen moment? Like the celebrities, they get their bag and they do their thing, but when they don't get their money right, they gonna call on the Black community like Byron Allen did, like Monique did with Netflix, and everybody's like, now you super Black and you want to put the fits up because them buckers ain't pay you your $10. So
yeah, No, that's the and then when it's down, when they're down, they're black nationalists. When they're up, they're integrationists. Like that's just how the black bourgeoisie works. So as soon as they money back up, it's this is great. It's this opportunity. Y'all not taking advantage of all the things we got available in this system. What was Kevin Hart saying? We just don't learn financial literacy. We don't learn how to take care of our money. So they love to hop on both sides of the fence.
I think one of the many reasons why I'm loving this new Queen Mother Moore book by Dr. Ashley Farmer is you get to see how she navigate between like black elite to staunchly unhoused to kind of moving up again and then going into Garvey movement and trying to like build some type of class analysis and that I think that is one of the reasons why I like just to kind of like read through it. But it's been a pretty dope book, so I recommend it to me.
With this song, so I have a thing about this song that I appreciate. I've said, and you've heard me talk about this before, that like a lot of these concepts that we talk about as revolutionary theory exist in our community in some indigenous form, like they just haven't been forced into the academy yet and given a neat label and sold under books. And I say Afro-pessimism is one of those things because any black person, just for self-preservation, can observe that black people, dark-skinned Africans are always getting the short end of the stick in any movement, even if it's a global movement, for our solidarity, right? We see. So I think just dialectics of anti-blackness lead you there. And I always give this song as an example, even though the politics, content-wise of the song aren't the best. And the us Michael Jackson might be talking about, we can question that. Most black people have this feeling. They don't really care about us. It doesn't matter what we do. It doesn't matter what movements we're a part of. Black people are going to be betrayed. And this betrayal historically leads to things like Afro-pessimism. So I appreciate all the other expressions of AP that we see in our community outside of just the academic kind of framing of the concept. But other than that, I think some people in the chat, this comment threw me off a little bit. So Roosevelt played a big part in the civil rights movement. No, not really. There's some history there we should probably look into, but if you look into FDR, we got a whole.
Give me 1 second now.
Go ahead. I'll keep going, with the FDR. I highly recommend this book. Prejudicial Black America and the Presidents by Margaret Kimberly, where she talks about each president and their relationship to Black America. Very short, accessible chapters. On the platform, we also have Jared's daughter interviewing Margaret about it. One of my favorite things we have on this platform. But I highly recommend you check it out. One of my favorite pieces from it is where FDR is talking to Eleanor, and it's, I think, who keeps calling the office? I think it's Thurgood Marshall. I'll check this source for you and get it for you. But Thurgood Marshall keeps calling the office, trying to get something done. And I think Eleanor Roosevelt is receiving the calls, and she's the first lady who's known for the civil rights movement stuff, as you point out here. And FDR is quoted as saying, "Don't ever let me hear from one of Eleanor's niggers again." So he was very clearly not our ally. He was very annoyed. He was talking to Eleanor, saying, "Don't let any of Eleanor's niggers hit this White House line again. We got more important stuff to deal with." So FDR stands for "fuck that racist" in my book, but also in Prejudicial. 100% recommend that. And I will find that receipt for y'all.
Yeah, Margaret snapped in that book.
Yeah. Let me
Really
see
quickly.
if I still got that. Go ahead.
You talking about what? If you got the book?
Yeah, I have the receipt because I highlighted all the receipts. I highlighted the receipt about Lincoln signing off on slave trade in Haiti right before signing the Emancipation Proclamation. This book is full
I got
of
it right here.
amazing receipts. But the FDR chapter, if I have that in my
Here, I can get to it right quick.
cool. If you can pull it up, I would very much appreciate that. And then I'll pull up the Night Patrol so we can shift into the next movie.
How you? What the hell? What the hell?
But also,
I-
FDR was anti-socialist, anti-communist. He was co-opting Eugene Debs. He is the origin of the progressive movement, which we talk about in our Living Glossary for Remix. So check that out, about how progressives are a special type of liberal, and they are dangerous for that reason because they negotiate with capitalism to make sure we don't slip into socialism or communism.
I wonder how that got to do this thing with do we got to do a file?
I'm not sure if this is about us, and this will probably be the last I engage this kind of thing on this subject anyway. But the weakness of the revolution is that everybody's trying to project everybody's a bunch of critics instead of revolutionaries. Well, I would recommend you check out the Black Liberation Army Study Guide, where there is a whole chapter on criticism and self-criticism. And it's stated that those are core elements of being a revolutionary. So maybe you should try critiquing more. All right.
This it right
Yeah.
here.
Go down. What we see, Eleanor. Okay, right there. Eleanor, the last sentence, sorry. If you go right back up. Okay. FDR, Franklin Roosevelt, but America is a country of low political expectations, which is why FDR is seen as a good politician. Franklin Roosevelt has received far more credit for his treatment of Black Americans than he is actually due, even though he and his wife, Eleanor Roosevelt, were beloved by Black people both during and after his time in office, similar to Kennedy. So the Democratic Party was the party of segregated South. It was also the party of native genocide, started by Andrew Jackson. If we keep going down, I think FDR never supported anti-lynching legislation. What did we talk about with progressives or social democrats or democratic socialists? They don't go after imperialism. They do not. So no anti-lynching legislation. I'm not even at the part. Roosevelt banned Black reporters from his press conferences from the beginning of his administration and used Southern political power as a convenient excuse. He issued a tepid statement that condemned lynching, but only after 2 white men were murdered by a San Jose, California mob. Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall told a revealing story about Roosevelt's phony concern for Black people. Marshall went to Attorney General Francis Biddle to seek help in the case of a Black man accused of murdering a white sheriff in Virginia. Shout out our ancestors. Biddle called the president with the intention of discussing the matter and Marshall to listen to the conversation on another phone. He was stunned to hear Roosevelt say, "I warned you not to call me again about any of Eleanor's niggers. Call me one more time and you are fired."
Both Roosevelts used Black people in photo opportunities to appear as if they were taking Black people's concerns seriously. Mary McLeod Bethune, president of historically Black Bethune-Cookman and founder of National Congress of Negro Women, became one of the go-to people who helped the Roosevelts appear more progressive than they actually were at a time when Black people were ignored and left without legal protection. It is understandable that the sight of Bethune having tea with Mrs. Roosevelt would be a cause for celebration and admiration. Though she did not run for elective office, Eleanor Roosevelt was a politician in her own right, and she used those skills at opportune moments to carry out public relations campaigns.
We know that term. Public relations. Edward Bernays, psychological warfare. Thank you,
Marcus.
Geechee.
Shout out to Marcus for laying out that work.
That was an excellent book. Very short, very readable. Get it for Christmas. You know, the holidays coming around. Get it for the holidays. Give it out. But no question. All right. So I appreciated that. I also will point out that history of Black figures being used to make the Democrats look better, as we're pointing out, it's Prejudicial by Margaret Kimberly. That's the book we're talking about. It's a common thing. It's very common. As we saw, Mary McLeod Bethune was used that way. But I actually, unfortunately, saw even a video of Fannie Lou Hamer having a call with Jackie Kennedy and talking to some young Black child in Mississippi, talking about Auntie Jackie Kennedy. Now, again, Fannie Lou Hamer, thorough revolutionary, but absolutely not. Okay, I'm never calling no little Black child telling her to say the first lady's auntie anything. So there was that. You know, we have Toni Morrison, Angela Davis, others who have gone and supported folks like Clinton, Obama. So we just have to be clear on how Black people are used to make white politicians look like they care about our people and our struggle. Yeah, Bill Clinton is Black. That whole psyop against PR, psychological warfare. All right. Anything else, Geechee, you want to address on this subject? You want to go into the next story?
Nah. Yeah.
Work. Let's get it. All right. Another movie. You know, we got Sinners knockoffs now. Everyone's going to be trying to hit that high again. So we'll see. So this movie it made me think of Sinners, but it is a slightly different premise. What we're talking about is this movie coming in 2026 called Night Patrol. Let me check this out. Check out this premise. See if we like it.
All I wanted to do was be a cop. I just thought it was the coolest thing. We're portrayed differently now. We're seen in a very negative light.
Now,
Most of us are good, but there are a few bad apples out there.
Turn around and face the other way.
What is this?
They shot your sister.
I think it was Night Patrol.
You guys are special. I want to be a part of that. When are you going to let me in on a big secret around here?
You want in Night Patrol? This is it.
What did you do to me? They vampires.
Tonight, let's go. We show him how Night Patrol hunts. We bleed colonial courts dry. I heard what they were. I still didn't believe.
Y'all feel that? Coming for us next.
This is Night Patrol.
We need to be ready.
Oh, yeah! Oh, hell yeah! Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Hey. This is a sacred night.
This is good versus evil.
We ain't going nowhere till we get some payback on that demon.
Is it demons? It could be lizard man.
What? Yo, Trip, you bought them silver bullets?
Hold up, blood. That's werewolves, man. You tripping?
I ain't tripping no, I ain't tripping no.
No, suck it up.
All right. How we feeling? What we think? We got mixed reviews. Some people gonna watch, some people not. Hey, that's interesting.
Yeah.
What you thinking? What's your first thought? You seen this trailer yet?
nah, never. But I think because there's a high rate of illiteracy, there's a high rate of educate to I don't know what the word is, but to kill people's consciousness or awareness of anything. And so this makes me think about that post that I told you, my now celebrity boxing coach friend, when he said, how does racism hinder you today? And he responded to my comment and he was like, oh, we should have a conversation. I'm waiting for that conversation. I don't think it's gonna happen. But for that dude to be like, now we're known in a bad light, I'm like, nigga, like what the fuck is you talking about? Like anyway, but I guess one could say that in an environment where our mind has been warped to where we really would think that police in America are peacekeepers. And even though it's very clear in every historical documentation, I can't find one that they have been modeled after property protective principles. And again, if you go from property to property-less, and again, these are just like easy things. So I just think this wild shit of like maybe these movies keep coming out because they don't have as much grip as we think they do, and that's why they got to keep burning into people's mind. Like most of us are good, most of us are good, most of us, because they're actually losing their ability to even convince people that. And the George Floyd thing, maybe catalyst, but there's many other Walter Scott and two people from my hometown, Walter Scott and Anthony Hill here in Georgia. So yeah, I think so. One of the clarifying questions that I asked one of my other homeboys who's in the comments, I was like, "Yo, how do you feel about the laws being made for you, or made for you by somebody else, and you have to like concede to them?" So that kind of goes back to like, bro, not only is property keeping, property protecting principles, but they're there to upkeep and maintain a social order that is named and orchestrated by a particular group of small people, and that they work for them niggas. Like, if the police are called and you come to a space, the first thing they'll ask who's the landlord, like the house. If you, is that a business, who's the owner? Like it's a particular class that they're there for. When they're like, so I don't know. I just think this. I guess the first thing is literally like these motherfuckers can keep doing this, but the bright line is they have to keep doing this because they're losing their ability to control a narrative of how people see police, and so that's why they got to keep doing propaganda or propaganda, like people say.
No, that's extremely important to point out. So we're doing, I've mentioned the skate park at Charles Hadley and trying to restore that. But my comrade, she was telling me about how they, at this park, the elders in the community will meet with the police chief, usually to just hear what's going on, get the usual updates. You know, we're doing youth programs, we've monitored here, there's crime here, blah, 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 blah. And recently, because of the crisis of capitalism, because of gentrification, unaffordable housing, we're having a unhoused crisis. Never really left down here, but it's spiking more than before. So a lot of people are just seeing unhoused people in the park more than usual. And so their question as elders was like, okay, so what are y'all doing about this? Are there shelters? Are there all these things? And the officer, who we know, like you just said, they serve a class of people, they don't serve you, can't answer the question. So the chief is just kind of sitting there floundering around, and basically says, no, we're just going to keep you safe. Pathologizes the unhoused people, says they're using drugs and all these things. And the old folks are like, but that doesn't help us solve the problem. And so at the end of the meeting, these older folks who can sometimes trend conservative are basically telling the chief, like, we don't need you to come here anymore. You're not helping us. Like, why these reports aren't doing anything, and your only solution is to arrest people for being poor. And so obviously you and I know that's the typical function of police, but it is great when other people can become conscious of that in real time. And then of course it happens nationally, happens internationally, and we link those things and raise consciousness. So definitely want to highlight that. But I hear you. So my thing about Supernatural is it should be used to enhance storytelling, right? It should be used to give us access to a story maybe we can't live right now. Maybe it can shorten a time scale for like a revolution or a battle or something. Like, there's a lot of things you can do with supernatural stuff. But if it's not actually addressing the premise, I don't really see what it does other than just tell the same stories over and over again. So the movie starts, that trailer starts like, police perceptions have changed. Okay, why? No discussion of that. And then there are still some bad apples. That's how the movie starts. And maybe we're supposed to give the movie a chance and you go there and it questions the bad apple thing or whatever. I don't know. But the framing on its own already sets us up for failure, right? It makes the police being vampires be the reason that, they attack and do these things. Or it's like a rogue cell is what it's looking like. What I will say that looks good about this is, I didn't even know this. Okay, cool. But Freddie Gibbs is in the movie. He might be funny. And I'm curious. I want to hear interviews now to hear what he thinks about that. But I will say, I do think what they're trying to set up here is that there are gangs in our communities, and the real enemy is the police. So I do, from what I see, it looks like Bloods and Crips, and whatever neighborhood they're setting this up in, or whatever project they're setting this up in, are gonna unite and fight the police. So I mean, that's a good story, but
Freddie Gibbs, and he take it away.
So
So
that album cover.
David B. Spitting. So again, organized patrol. Who organized the patrol or how they're organized? You know good and well when you go to a city or you go to an area, I think all of y'all have been asked by cops one time, where the fuck you doing here? They don't ask you like that, but what are you doing here? Why are you here? Because if you look like you about to disrupt the social order, my nigga, they coming to see you. If there's labor unrest, you're not going to see the boss get arrested, right? This is going straight to the labor, like you've seen it countless times. And yeah, I don't think, like I wish I could have record when I used to do these like workshops for this youth programming in Baltimore, in-service program. The police had to go through interactions with Outward Bound. And I always talk about the police policy and politician analogy, but it was birthed in that workshop when I asked them people, all mostly black, raise your hand if you trust politicians. They don't trust politicians. And this whole good cop shit went out the window because when they say they don't trust politicians because they're crooked and all this other shit, and I say, well, if y'all are police who enforce policies on people that the politicians give y'all, why the fuck would they trust y'all? Them niggas got silent. And I'm like, oh, but all y'all niggas good cops. If you a good cop, my nigga, the corrupt policy from the politician, you say, fuck that. I'm helping the people. But you ain't doing that because you gotta get that salary and you want to do overtime. So give me that shit, bro. I don't want to have that good apple bad. Fuck that, bro.
Yeah, I mean, yes, exactly. And that's where I'm at with it. Like, they're going to keep some core myths intact. Shout out all the reporting Renee's done this year on Propaganda on Saturdays. Check out Alec Karakatsanis' stuff on it. But the core myths of policing aren't going to be disturbed at all by this. I always point this out, for example, with the city of Miami, that they're 50%, up to 50% of their arrests are of the unhoused. Right, that is their job. So when you read The End of Policing by Alex Vitale, you see most of the time police are just ticketing and doing property stuff and not stopping crimes. And then I'm looking at Miami and it's just arresting poor people, right? You start seeing what the police actually do on a day-to-day and it kind of falls apart. Back to some unity, though. I'm glad our comrade Yul came around. I agree with this. Both of the gangs and police were designed by Western society as crime is needed so that they can project protection. And so I'm saying, folks, I agree. Again, like cops as vampires, a lot of people ain't mad at it. Like, it's true. I think that is cool. My whole point is, what does that supernatural element do? That's what I keep saying. Like, does it, maybe in people's minds, they'll be like, holy, cops, vampires, and they can link it more. But this becomes a problem with these genres, or like horror in general, when our lived reality as Black people is worse, right? And that's why I'll be like, use the supernatural to tell a better story, to tell a story where we win, all these things. Because I don't think anything in that movie, you know, I'm sure the cops will kill some people, Black people, unfortunately, and we'll see some fighting back or whatever. But nothing in that movie sounds more terrifying than Sonia Massey, right? And that's just a real story. So I just can't, you know, cops that aren't vampires killed Sonia Massey. So I don't really see the benefit of making it supernatural. If anything, I kind of feel like that abstracts from how they normally function. So that's how I'm feeling. Who wrote Night Patrol? We should do that since we did that for the Michael film. And then we can slip off pop culture into some other things. So it is a horror thriller, and it was written by... Oh, it sounds like there was potentially a Black person writing, Shay Ogbonna. I'll share my screen on Wikipedia. Shay Ogbonna, Ryan Prowse, Tim Cairo, Jake Gibson, and produced by David S. Goyer, who's again, just this generic kind of white director. Mtume always talks about how this works and the inside outs of Hollywood, but he does a lot of imperialist stuff, guys. I mean, this is not his fucking Batman versus Superman, the Dark Knight trilogy, Nick Fury, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then we have Call of Duty Black Ops. So this is the person making the anti-cop film, guys. I don't know. This doesn't seem like it's
he's an ex-cop.
where we're gonna want it. I mean,
he looked like a cop.
He might have been. Oh, here we go. Goyer and his brother were born in Ann Arbor, Michigan. He was Jewish on his mother's side and attended a Hebrew school. Yellow flag, yellow flag. We're not anti-Semitic. Yellow flag. Screenwriter at USC. All of these things, and then just came in through comics. So yeah, this seems more like a comic horror thriller kind of thing. I will say somebody pointed out something I thought was important, which is that this reminded them of a British movie, Cockneys versus Zombies. And yeah, I would say it draws on that. Well, after the Sinners thing, I don't know if you got that question, but we got like, what do y'all like? I got that question a bunch of times. Like, what movies? Y'all hate everything. What do y'all actually like? So the recommendations I gave were The Great Debaters, that Denzel movie that somehow got made, and I don't know how, about a communist professor organizing sharecroppers. But then I also said Vampires versus the Bronx. I don't know if you've seen that movie. It's a Netflix film. It's about like some teenagers who fight gentrification, and the gentrifiers are vampires. And it's fun, and it's a comedy, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. So I like that movie. I haven't seen Cockneys versus Zombies, but Attack the Block is a UK film about some young black kids in the hood, basically, who fight not vampires, aliens. So I like the genre. I think it can be well done. I just think it can't take itself too seriously. And this movie looks like it's trying to take itself seriously. So, not a fan. Yes, Call of Duty does say Reagan is good, unfortunately. But Call of Duty is also contracted with the Department of Defense and a lot of other things. So we can expect that from them.
What do you feel about organizing police and military people? What do you feel like? Yeah. And I'm asking this for a couple of reasons. One, I remember being in the airport and somebody say, "Hey, you're Geechee from Earn Your Liberation?" I was like, yeah. And it's like, "Oh, me and a bunch of my friends work." I was like, "Oh yeah, and who are you?" And it's like, "Oh yeah, I'm in the military." I was like, "Oh, that's it. Oh, y'all watch this?" So that, and then again, let's not over let's not let's be careful to accept in a way that military is very similar to like the survival economy that a lot of people go into, because like most niggas go in the military because of the economic situation they're gonna be in, and most of them is like it's a job. So I wonder how you feel about that. Police, military, and then obviously there's ex-police militaries, there's the Smedleys and the Geronimos and the Jarretts and all these other people. But yeah, I'm curious how you. I know it's a deep, heavy.
I mean, I was gonna say, I think you're there, right? I don't know if we can organize police and military active duty. I think ex-police and ex-military are people who we should be looking to organize. Because if we're talking about police, we always say it, Darub always says it, armed agents of the state, so there's a class. So they operate as a class. And when we organize our people, we're organizing a class of people. We're organizing workers, we're organizing lumpen. So when I'm like looking at the class and the class function, I don't think it can be organized in the sense that we're talking about. So on a class level, oh, what happened? Okay. On a class level, yeah. I struggle to see how it can be done, because again, they still have duties. They have all sorts of restrictions on what they can actually do, like on their day-to-day life. Like there's a bunch of policies you have to follow so you can maintain your position in the military or the police. So I think defectors, class traitors, people committing class suicide are important for organizing. And an example I can provide on this platform is the Reimagining Safety documentary we aired with Matthew Solomon. They had a former LAPD detective who had about 10 years of experience talking about the training process, how it brainwashed her, how it made her violent, how it made her no longer able to listen and calmly perceive information from people. So I think that was super useful. And if we could have 20 of those, 30 of those, it'd be really fascinating what kind of project we could create. So I do think first off, there are already ex-police that organize. There are already ex-military that organize. There are veterans movements. So I would just suggest that people tap into those. And I would defer to those people because I think they're going to have a better shot at organizing their folks. A lot of people are, what's the word? There's a culture to police and military where it's like, oh, if you ain't been here, you don't know. kind of situation. So I think you and I would have trouble even on that front, which is like talking to these people who are like, well, you ain't never, done this training. You've never been behind the thin blue line. You've never done, these special operations. So you don't know. So I would just hope that other police and military could reach those folks. Yeah. But that's my thoughts. How about you? Have you had experiences organizing officers, veterans, things like that?
Same thing. It's like ex folks and folks who are relatively would say like the horrors of the particular things, but they also don't do anything. Like they come back either shell shock or like they just trying to keep their little wing. So I think it's almost impossible to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, as a class, maybe. And that becomes the whole thing. I mean, I appreciate this book, Looking at the White Working Class Historically by David Gilbert. It's a really short one. But he talked about the white working class. And unlike a lot of white leftists, settler leftists who are really like trying to reclaim this shit and we can just work together, Bacon's Rebellion, black and white can come together to crush Native people. Like outside of those people, David Gilbert has a more, I would say, dialectical take on the white working class in America, where he says, maybe as a class, they are reactionary. Maybe they will be a labor aristocracy. Maybe they will see themselves as a global north. I don't know as a class. But as far as individual revolutionaries go, as far as what the Weather or Underground was trying to do, organizing class traders, that is still a worthwhile endeavor. So I agree. Maybe the white working class is irredeemable. I don't fucking know. Maybe these things can't be organized as classes are concerned, but we do need to heighten contradictions and make breaks in their ranks. So I think that opportunity comes with contradictions like what Lady Alex laid out about a lot of veterans. I think you highlighted it. High percentage of homeless persons are veterans. It's true. I've talked to unhoused people. Talked to an unhoused veteran who was on crack in the street. And he had some very insightful things to say. And then he also had some very misogynist things to say. So I also, people are confined by their ideologies at the end of the day. And yeah.
Or their economic influences.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's a good chance to slap the map because I think our first story gets right into that. So I want to slap the map. It's 9 o'clock. Get us started on some news.
Yeah. What a map at? What a map to slap? This one.
Peace. Welcome again. Friday Remix Morning Show. Like, share, subscribe. Please donate to us on Patreon if you can, if you have it. We are demonetized and probably shadow banned. So it is how we stay afloat, how we keep doing this good work. All right, what we got? Last week we were talking about Mom Donnie. I raised a particular critique.
You said that
of social democrats or democratic socialists and their relationship to imperialism. And that critique was that they don't attack imperialism. Instead, they try and redistribute the spoils of imperialism to make things more affordable for people. So, number one way you could attack imperialism in New York as a mayor would be addressing the NYPD. And so, as that test came up, we want to see how Zoran is doing. Mehdi Hassan asked some questions that we raised last week, so we want to hear the answers.
That as mayor, you'd be keeping on NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch. Many of your critics on the left say that keeping Tisch would be a continuation of the status quo here in New York City. She's against bail reform. She's spoken out against pro-Palestine protesters. She's even worked in the intelligence division that constructed a surveillance system for Muslims in New York. What do you say to your supporters who are a little bit disillusioned on this one appointment and say, come on, Zoran, why would you keep her on?
So I said in the primary that I would consider keeping on Commissioner Tisch, and then I said in the general that this is a decision I was making to retain her. And much of that had to do with the fact that when Eric Adams had appointed Commissioner Tisch, he had truly stacked the upper echelons of the NYPD with corruption and a complete lack of accountability. And what she has been able to do in the time that she's been commissioner has been to start to root that corruption out, start to deliver accountability and reduce crime across the 5 boroughs. And that this is an appointment that I would make in tandem with delivering on the agenda that we put forward over the course of the primary. That's an agenda that will create a Department of Community Safety.
Yep.
That is an agenda that will ensure that we are dismantling the strategic response group as the way the NYPD responds to protests. And it's an agenda that understands that safety and justice have to be delivered together. This is a decision that fulfills and then develops that.
Are you planning on expanding the size of the New York Police Department?
No, I've said that the number of police officers that the department has is a sufficient number. The most important thing is that we only ask those officers to do the work of policing, as opposed to now, we're asking them to also take on the homelessness crisis, the mental health crisis, so many different examples of the failures of the social safety net. That's going to be the focus of the Department of Community Safety.
Just on Commissioner Tisch, according to the New York Daily News, she received advance notice from the Trump administration about that horrific ICE raid along Canal Street last month, and that she apparently directed NYPD officers to stay away from ICE agents who were doing their jobs. Has that changed your view of her at all? And will that kind of thing be happening next year on your watch as well?
What I will make clear as the leader of the city is that the days of a mayor going on national television and opening the door to civil immigration enforcement, as Mayor Adams did, those days are coming to an end. The NYPD is not going to assist ICE in their operations. And we are going to fulfill the laws of our city and our state, not violate them.
So just to be clear, if a Canal Street happened again, the NYPD commissioner on your watch would not be directing NYPD officers to stay out of it and let ICE do whatever they want.
The NYPD commissioner would not be directing the NYPD to assist ICE in those operations. And I've also made clear that we should hold anyone in this same city and same state to the same set of laws, no matter who they are or what agency they're performing for.
How you feeling about that? You're muted, Geechee.
I've been staying away from a lot of. This is my first time seeing it. I've been staying away from a lot of, which I don't know if it's a good idea, from a lot of reactions and comments to it, and then really trying to figure out like how could we harness the conversations and the movement as this person who uses or who has used movement language. And is it possible? And are we in a position to actually do anything about it other than be like, oh, them niggas ain't really socialists? Well, y'all ain't really socialist either because you ain't never show what socialism looks like. But so I don't know. I don't know. I think there's gonna be tons of news all day. Like,
Yeah, I know some of our New York comrades have been saying we should talk to people on the ground. I have, to some degree, but I have my thoughts as well. Like we are also all watching this. It is being sent to all of us, and it's affecting our local politics, and people are talking about it. So I don't think it's fair to just say it's only New York and no one else can comment. Even though you should do your due diligence and talk to organizers. But no, this is trash. I don't know. I was glad I was seeing the comments. I wanted to just let it rock. It's a terrible response. I don't get it. I think shout out an affiliate of the platform, Carlos Deculturation, has been doing a lot on liberal Zionism and who these figures are, who the Tisch family is. But the Tisch family is a billionaire capitalist family currently gentrifying Brooklyn. So we have her whole family to think about. But also just that Zionism is a white supremacist ideology, right? Like this is the key to it. So the same way you could say, I'm going to keep a Klansman on as the head of the NYPD, or I'm going to keep a Nazi on as the head of the NYPD. This is what you're saying. You're going to keep a Zionist on. Someone's pointed out that this person helped construct the network to surveil Muslim citizens in New York. So I just wanted to get this clear because this is what we were hearing. I wanted to get it clear that he's saying that a Nazi, a Klansman, a Zionist should be in charge of limiting hate crimes.
mm-hmm.
So again, I'm just trying to follow the logic here. So a Zionist should be in charge of limiting hate crimes. A Zionist is going to make sure the NYPD are doing their job when she helped increase the surveillance of brown citizens, right? And then a Zionist is someone who is going to keep us safe and dismantle the anti-protest unit. Like, this is what we're trusting this person to do. Now, I've heard some, big brain strategy that he's actually setting her up so that when she doesn't follow through on these things, he can remove her. Hey, man, I hope so. I hope it is that strategic, and that's why I'm not that big brain electoral politics, because to me, 1 + 1 = 2. I'm not doing 4-step algebra equations to explain my anti-imperialism to people. So it is what it is. I thought that was a good follow-up to last week. Again, he's really focused on the affordability agenda and not the fact that the 5th largest military in the world is the NYPD. So when he's saying he thinks they're a good size, it's because they're already over-bloated. That's because they already have too much money. So saying you're not going to remove money from people who are taking the majority of the working people's money, not particularly socialist. Now, again, I think, Geechee, to your point, the question becomes, well, what would you do? Or what do we do instead? Or what could have been done? He just couldn't have done anything. He couldn't have done anything. So that's why I wanted to bring in that last comment you just had about organizing police or whatever. I think there are plenty of whistleblower ex-NYPD people who still have a relationship with the force and the institution who you could have selected. I don't know why you wouldn't pick a former NYPD officer. I don't know why you would pick a more liberal NYPD officer. There are other people, whistleblowers, right, that I think you should be looking at as well as candidates. And again, I talked to someone on the ground in New York who had 2 people who they thought would have been better as a candidate. But I don't know his political will, picking his battles, all of that. I just am not. Yeah.
So again, we can respond to the Zinzi comment. I think it's pretty interesting.
What
comment?
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. But so couple things. How I see, and I told you a little bit about DSA's new chapter at Morehouse and Clark. And the other day I met with maybe 10 students, and then there's more of them. And how I kind of see this connecting is 2 things, right? If you know that these people are using this language, movement language, saying particular things, it's not sincere, it doesn't back up anything, it won't follow up with anything. You know that because that's not your politician that came up from under your ranks. If you're in movement space, because kind of to Zinzi's point, there are people who are in New York or outside of New York are just talking, and they're not a part of any kind of movement or whatever. And I don't think.
I'm sorry. Okay, I see Zinzi's point now.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I'm gonna highlight it. Got you.
Yeah, so I think people in or out of New York who just are talking in general or not really doing much in communities or trying to build something off response. Yeah, it's kind of like a lot of hot air. But there is a lot of candidates, included in Atlanta, who has a Mandani type image. Rohit here, and who's be city council president. He look, I don't want to say he looked like Mandani, that's pretty fucked up. But he kind of acts. There's Kelsey. There's a couple people, even the school board, that people who are DSA adjacent or DSA Workers Families Party type stuff, and these people are using these languages. But as a more radical organization, you should be highlighting the contradictions. Some of us claim to be or exposed to be like political education experts, right? So this is your time to be on the platform and highlight the contradictions. You can be juxtaposing their rhetoric with actual policy. You can highlight the policies, the limitation of that policy, and say what policies will work. I mean, this is kind of like main stage. And so just like I think that we're going to attempt to do with the DSA folks at Morehouse and Clark, is we know for a fact those Black students are going to be disillusioned with the DSA tomorrow, probably. And if you're already building a relationship with them and helping them highlight contradictions and helping them walk into an organization, not only that's already preset and established, but an organization they would have to build and shape themselves, which they won't be able to do at DSA. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I just think this is a time for that. So Yeah.
Right. And DSA is a national org, so I do think there are multiple ways to engage Mamdani. I think you can engage him as an abolitionist. I think you can engage him as a New Yorker. I think you can engage him as a national DSA member. So I don't think there's just one path to engage him. I do think it's very important to know the local conditions. That's what Amber highlighted last week about how Memphis is not the same as New York City, is not the same as Miami. So I would never suggest that somebody just blanket discuss something. But some of these things I think are pretty obvious contradictions. I will say that, again, BNB does have a chapter in New York. I'm pretty close to the organizers there. I lived in New York for a brief period, so I'm not entirely pulling stuff out my ass. But I do understand that there is probably some local things going on. He has a team that's meant to execute his agenda. So excited to look at those and how they develop. But I do think these kinds of things, obviously, they're projected to national and international media, right? So they are to be viewed and thought of by other people, right? Otherwise, this wouldn't be. This is Mehdi Hassan. This isn't a local organizer or journalist from the Bronx or anything. So I did think that was important. I also think, like, again, Tish is not. She's doing international work crimes, not just New York-based ones. So I also think that's important. But yeah, that's what I had. I think the Mamdani story should still be followed. I, again, am interested in how it unfolds. So.
Yeah, but I also think this is the point too. So Zinzi says, here's the thing, Geechee, I don't know a thing about Atlanta or its politics, having been the only Black person who's never been there. So I'm going to ask ATLians on the ground. So my point is, once you ask the ATLians on the ground, will you then know a thing because you have firsthand account that you, and maybe you like do Hubert Harrison. It says to know a thing, you have an argument, and then you find 10 people who argue differently and understand all those arguments, and then you really know a thing. So I just don't want to give out the fact that this hyper local organizing concept of like, you ain't from here and I ain't with it. Like, if you have the ability to read and talk to people, then you have ability to understand things from a large perspective. You probably shouldn't, what do they call that thing when you do on internet, when you search something specifically what you're looking for? Confirmation bias. As long as you don't have confirmation bias in your ability to research, I mean, yeah, I think you should be able to. I think it's better instead of saying not being from here, don't say anything. I think it's better to be like no investigation, no right to speak, while most people be kind of sharing. Like, you should probably do some research about the things you're talking about.
Yeah, and then we were talking about the alternative, right? So our comrade Aaliyah shared this, but let's see what the alternative was, right? Like,
because Eric, this interview.
This is Z-Way's kind of style of this new style of interview, where you kind of troll your audience and your guests and stuff like that, but you get pretty big figures on there doing those kinds of things. So, what was the alternative? And then, why would certain New Yorkers be excited about not getting Cuomo or this guy? Let's check it out.
She's so
words for Mamdani's New York.
This is New York. It's not Cuba. It's not China. It is the center of capitalism, not socialism. Can't take it backwards. We've made too much success. Got to move forward.
Got it. Marry F. Kill communism, socialism, capitalism.
I would marry capitalism,
Okay.
Israel, socialism and communism. I would kick to the curb.
Here's a list of things that you love. Marry F. Kill the Black community, NYPD, Israel.
I would marry, and love all three of them,
Okay.
and I would add on to them Ghana,
Okay.
Senegal,
Hey.
Nigeria,
Shout out.
South Africa.
Okay.
Exactly. I love them all. Love is love.
Look at socks. Can't
to
they?
all those communities.
Those niggas whack.
Do you have
Bro. I
any
don't
last
like these.
words for Zorn
Both of them
Mamdani's New
whack.
York?
This is New York. It's not Cuba.
Sorry. All right, John. We ain't gotta watch it twice. Jesus. Oh man,
Bro.
Oh,
when
man.
she popped on the scene, I was so annoyed, bro. I don't. All her interviews is whack, bro, and all the people she bring on is whack. So.
Tell us a little bit more about your reaction to that. I'll be right back. Give me like 20 seconds.
Nah, I have very little reactions other than the fact that I don't like Eric Adams. I've never seemed to um understand anything about him. He reminds me of Jim Kleinberg, just a younger version. And Ziwi or Zway, whatever her name is is I don't think it's funny at all. Somebody said Dre said it got funny. I don't think that's funny at all. I think that lady is corny. I do know that there's this new or trending way to interview people. And Zach Galifianakis, I feel like he restarted, I don't know. But then Between Two Ferns, and then you have Bobby, the little white girl, and then you have Funny Marco doing it. And there's this like awkward type thing that journalists, I don't know what it is, but I feel like she is doing it with the comedic thing, but she's just not, I don't know, she's just not funny to me, bro.
Well, I think she's produced by Showtime, I believe, and I think this is the same trajectory Desus and Mero went on, where you have a bag, you have some content that's funny, you have your own little production style, things like that. You have a fan base, a core fan base, and then you grow. And you keep growing and growing. And then, of course, under capitalism, what happens when you grow? Well, I need more production. I need all of that. And so Desus and Mero, you can see their growth from like the Bodega Boys podcast. I think they got picked up by Vice. And then they go to Showtime. And on Showtime, that's big production money. So now they're having Elizabeth Warren that they're interviewing. AOC is walking through the Bronx. Hey, Eric Andre is another pioneer in this area. So all this shit is what you see from this model. But once they get to Showtime, I mean, you had Desus and Mero doing skits, right? Like it's the Chappelle show. And that's not their bag at all. And so that's what I see. Like Z-Way had a little bit of a bag. It was cool. It was funny. It was charming. But then she hits the Showtime level. And yeah, how else do you get access to an Eric Adams for an interview? It's access journalism in addition to got you journalism, right? So yeah, I think her format became a little stale, a little commercialized. And she was never really, it was gotcha stuff, but it was never actually confronting people. Like, it's like, I guess Eric Andre and others fit this, but you don't really know their politic. They're just kind of a sounding board for funny statements or gotchas from the guest. So that's my feeling. Z-Way gives us some stuff like this, I guess, that we can laugh at, but no real journalism that we would need.
Yeah, I remember when I first saw her, I don't know if she had that big deal. I think she was just like YouTuber type stuff, but maybe she always, no, actually, I don't know. Maybe she always had a big show.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, we see the era where this came from. We're on the right. We're on Team Red right now, so we might as well just stick to this. This tweet, okay, like there's a lot going on that we have to talk about. First off, just Twitter and general social media culture being stolen from Black culture. We talk about, all of these things all the time with colonialism, but there's very common cultural appropriation conversations, all of that. And I think one of the biggest examples of that, especially when I deal with talking to youth, is internet slang, or this idea of making your personality on, social media look more human. A lot of corporations and institutions are doing this now. So they hire social media interns, all of that. But it's also the dialect they pick. It's how they speak that is sounding like Black people. And that's always been my issue with it. You'll say it's internet speak. White people will call it internet speak, but it's always, stolen, gentrified Black slang, Black speech patterns, Black humor. So even this, right? The Department of Homeland Security, first of all, that pissed me off. Let's just start there. That made me so mad. Why are you talking like this? You're the Department of Homeland fucking Security. And yes, this is the DHS. There's 2.8 million followers on this. I checked. It is not a parody account. The emoji at the end, all of this stuff. So someone in the comments, I think, pointed out, like, y'all aren't going to hide imperialism with a social media intern and an emoji. right? That's not true. But the story that they're covering when they're mocking black people and mirroring us and stuff like that is from the Washington Post. Exclusive, the U.S. Coast Guard will no longer classify the swastika, nooses, and the Confederate flag as hate symbols. So the Coast Guard clapped back at this and said it was untrue. Homeland Security clapped back at it and said it's untrue, but it's true. So this is always very interesting when the government just lies in your face. Sorry for folks who can't see. I tried to zoom in. Hopefully it's better now. But the U.S. Coast Guard will no longer classify them as hate symbols. Instead, it is going to call them potentially divisive. So this has been a strategy of Trump. We talk about the Democrats, the more effective evil for black people because they're neo-colonial, because they got the kente cloth and all the things, and they play our games. And the right is just openly white nationalists. And so we're seeing DHS, Coast Guard, all of these things just kind of embrace white nationalism. We also, not to say the Democrats don't do this, but the Republicans are more known for it. So it was that story with the nooses. What else was it? There was another thing. Oh, Trump renamed the bases. So he's renaming military bases after Confederate generals, which again, why would you do that if you are an America first, make America great again kind of person when that was an enemy of the American project, right? But they aren't Americans first. They're white supremacists, capitalists first, right? So just wanted to point out the story for folks if you're tracking it, if you got a little confused like I did because it seemed like it was fake, but then it's real. You know what I mean? So just wanted to cover that story. Any thoughts on this one, Geechee?
I'm actually always trying to figure out if, because the one I've been reading about like languagification and how like language is weaponized, and then the English language and the arrangement of English language, and I don't know how I feel about like, for instance, even that y'all. I heard people say y'all, but I don't know how I feel about this phrase automatically meaning that it's a black person or a black. But then on top of that, it's like I don't want to act like they ain't black people hired at Homeland Security specifically for a diversity reason. And if the goal is to make these people more, the institutions more, I guess, culturally appropriate, because these are business. I mean, these are not businesses, but these are departments and peoples, and and so it's almost like this is exactly what they were doing, and then there people will argue, be like, well, now it represents us. Like we want to see it's the representation argument. So it's like, they want black CIAs, and that's why the what's her name again? I don't know why I want to call her Layla Ali, and I'm sorry, Queen Latifah. That's why the Queen Latifah show is always it's a black woman CIA op, and very skilled, and like I mean, so
right.
I
think it's possible they hired a black person to do it, but that's that's still the same strategy of neocolonialism controlling us, of having tokens for us. But I do think ultimately, right, we talk about it, but the military, the U.S. military industrial complex, it's white supremacist, like at its core. So I appreciate this. We can use this to help keep our brothers and sisters from wanting to enlist or to get them out, like we were talking about before, making people leave the policing and military institutions that they're a part of. And that just tends to be a thing that people forget over time, is how racist the military is, right? If you don't know this background, if you haven't watched documentaries of Vietnam, war veterans, things of that nature, then you just don't know. And every single time you're like, oh, it's a new era. It's different now. It's not that bad. And we have to keep getting reminded because of the propaganda, the psych warfare that you mentioned earlier. They got to keep reinforcing that this institution is racist. It does not care about you. They might put a black man in charge of AFRICOM, and then a racist white man like Trump might come around and say, that's too much. We need a white man in charge of AFRICOM. So that's the kind of strategy they jump back and forth between.
I don't know no white Rodneys. Oh, never mind.
No, we found one. So we're looking at okay. So we're looking at the leadership of is this
Yeah.
DHS?
No,
Yeah.
yeah. But because I know they saying like she was over the social media, but I guess it's people who under her. Christian.
Like this is a tradition. Thank you, Stone Chowder, for sharing your experience. But this is a black tradition in the military. Like you ain't in the military, you ain't in the armed forces until they call you the N word. Just one big hard R.
This the one. This the one who over her because she's over social media.
Yeah, I mean, again, this to me looks like a white woman on TikTok who could steal some black language. That don't surprise me at all.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh,
yeah,
Michael, strategic communications, Michael Brock.
Micah might be Mike. We got a Mike.
Tam, yeah, we got a couple Michaels. Boom, there
So
we go.
might. Tammy Howard too. I don't even know.
That's who did it. She did it.
Oh man. All right. Well, that's our DHS story. So that's what the right's been up to. We got some social ones we can talk about. I think there's a lighter one, maybe. I've been seeing this trend on my timeline. So maybe we can talk about this. Hold on. Share. All right. This is the quarter zip trend. Maybe it's on y'all's algorithm, maybe not. I've been seeing it everywhere, but I don't know. Something about black men wearing the quarter zip and looking proper compared to, other so-called YN attire. So let's see here. Okay. All right. So I get it. I get the trend.
Wait, what now?
So this is the CIA is in shambles right now. I guess because they're all dressing like white businessmen, which is kind of funny. I actually think that's kind of funny. That's a good troll. But I guess the talk is that they're no longer dressing like urban youth. They're wearing quarter zips. So that's one thing. I've seen another one where they do the Boondocks episode where like a black man in a quarter zip bumps into another black man wearing a shiesty. And it's a like they do the Boondocks nigga moment and the da and the guy in the quarter zip is like, why would I fight you? I'm white. And then he just walks off. So I think this is the trend. Working quarter zips this school days.
Who shiesty?
Oh my God. I love the shiesty. So I'm not a respectability politics kind of dude.
Wait, what?
Oh man. Okay. I mean, I've seen this mostly about, I guess, I see it as two things. So I think we have a problem when black youth want to do something among themselves and it's an internal joke. And maybe there's some anti-blackness in there or whatever, but it's generally good fun. And then when the larger community, older folks, white folks, non-black people find the trend too. So I think there's two things going on. On its own, I actually think this is hilarious. I would be cracking up. I would probably join them and wear a quarter zip to school. Like that would be how I do it. But I do think when other people get a look at this, they get into the whole, oh, why are y'all dressing in shiesties? Oh, black boys are wearing this. The YNs are doing that. Yada, 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 yada. I do think the main point, though, is that the worst criminals on earth wear suits, as Jared likes to say. Like the worst things that have been done. He says worst things that have been done to him. Me too. Worst things that have been done to me have been men in suits. No question. The quarter zips, yeah. all the things. So
that go back to the point though, like, and there's no data that's going to show you police solving crime, but they can tell you by stopping and frisking or pretext stop of any black folks is them. Oh, they was potentially going to do a crime. But again, as you said, the niggas who done the most crime, you should be stopping and frisking and examining and researching all the niggas in the suits that's walking in the buildings. Like, yo, you look like you about to do some embezzlement.
Right. Exactly.
Like, nigga, you look like you about to steal a whole fucking country. lock that nigga up. But I don't know.
Yeah. I like this. See, again, my son's been writing quarter zips in elementary school. Easy to fit over the locks and the afro. That is funny. I mean, not funny. That's just, yeah, that's how it goes. BLM quarter zips win. But I mean, all of this to me, I think Brittany was on it. Like, it's slick respectability in some way. I don't think, again, the youth are doing it in that way, but I think how it's being interpreted is often just how we dress. I don't know if you grew up in a church or in youth groups hearing shit about sagging your pants. That used to be a whole thing. They made a law down here, or they were trying to make a law down here that they could stop you if you're sagging your pants and things like that. And of course, we have the locking up our own phenomenon, where some Black people supported that kind of thing. It's like, I don't want to see your underwear. You right. You need to pull up your pants, blah, 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 blah. But the point is, when we were in suits, we got beat. When we wear the disco pants, when you look like Michael Jackson in Jackson 5, you get beat. You know, it's this that gets you beat. It is not the quarter zip or the shiesty or any of those things. So you're wearing one right now, Jamal. Which one? The shiesty or the quarter zip?
I don't know what none of them is, but yeah. I didn't know them that those names. I never heard of those. Other than Pooh Shiesty, I would assume that.
If you want to see a dude's underwear virtual, I mean, yeah, that's my whole thing about it. You know, like people wear what they want to wear. I gotta see motherfuckers in U.S. flags every day. It is what it is.
And police uniforms.
Right, you know, like that's the whole thing. It's about what you have a problem with. Quarter zip discourse, YN discourse, bonnet discourse. It's all respectability politics, all from the same tree. So nothing to spend our attention on.
I'm the OG quarter zip. I ain't know. Oh, that's a little.
You did used to have the quarter zip on.
That's what that is.
Yeah.
Oh, I ain't never know that was called. I guess. Yeah.
Everybody was saying that it's good for locks and froze as well. Yeah, I gotta shout that out. I'll be trying to squeeze my shirt over my hair and like
not
let it get
Oh, that's what that is. Oh, okay. I wear that when I ride bikes so I could, you know.
Yep. Especially
keep my
when it's
helmet
cold.
Yeah.
I never heard the torn quarter zip. I knew what to talk about. Yeah. We know what it is.
Now I know.
We got time. Let's see. We got time for one more, and then we should probably talk about our future guests with Chris Payne's team coming on, if you're down for that. But let's see. I'll save the data center for Amber in Puerto Rico. I know she'll be back next week with the energy. So guess this was one that came across my feed. I found it pretty disturbing. And unexpected, unfortunately. So ignore the New York Post if you can. We just needed the story somewhere. But yeah, I would avoid this trash thing. Pat Bev, famous NBA player, popular podcaster, recently got into it with what's his name from Atlanta? Trey Young. Is it? Yeah, Trey Young. Man, I'm sorry, y'all. These ads about basketball and all sorts of shit that, you know, that's fine for them to debate. But in this situation, Pat Bev allegedly choked and punched teenage sister in ugly arrest incident. According to court documents viewed by the Post, Bev's sister, 15, claimed she left her Fort Bend house without permission to see her boyfriend, 18. When she returned home, her mother and Beverly confronted her, with a 37-year-old grabbing her by the neck with both hands and picked her up off the ground by having her feet come up off the floor. She claims the 6'2" ex-NBAer squeezed her neck, causing her to feel pain, leaving her to feel she was losing oxygen and not able to breathe. That is what happens when people choke you. No question. He was taken into custody with a third-degree assault charge and bonded out for $40,000. Later that day, Bev took to social media to respond to the news of the incident. Please don't believe everything you see on the internet. Hope all is well. Okay. Pat Bev has no criminal record. His social media reads, he cares deeply about his little sister, a young lady, a minor. Given that when he unexpectedly found her alone in home with an 18-year-old man, oh man, we're going to talk about that. An 18-year-old man in the middle of the night, he was understandably concerned, as any brother would have been, about his sister. However, we don't believe what followed happened the way it's been described, and we look forward to the opportunity to address that in court. Huh.
So she snuck out who house, and it said something about he was called over. So what is somebody else?
My understanding is that the mom said that the daughter had snuck out and had called Big Bro to go handle it. And when he did, he found his sister in bed with a 18-year-old child.
But they said she returned back to the home. It sounded like the mom
afterward. Yeah. Okay, got you. Wait,
because he didn't. I don't.
You're right. You're right. It does.
I didn't see him. He didn't find the boy
in the home. Oh, okay. So it looks like so she didn't sneak out. Somebody came over. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Is that what it sounds like? Given the Inspector Vendor alone in the home. In the home. No. It doesn't sound like it was theirs. Let's go back. Let's make sure we read this appropriately. So it says, sorry, y'all. He allegedly then took her out the room by her neck later on a couch and punched her approximately one time in the left eye with a closed fist, purportedly adding that he will be the family relative to kill her. Wow, we missed that part. Sorry, y'all. The boyfriend was asked to leave the house and was followed by Beverly. Police officials responded to the boyfriend's call for assistance and found the sister to have markings on her neck and PTK in the whites of her eyes. Sorry, we missed this part. You're right, Kichi. So it was at their house, it looks like. It looks like he attacked his sister, and then the boyfriend felt threatened and called police. Wow.
He's trying to cover it up by he's saying like, oh, on social media, please don't believe everything the media or the internet say.
Yeah, Patrick Beverly has no criminal record, cares deeply about his sister. However, we don't believe what foul is in the way it's being described. So he's saying it's not accurate.
And so he has a podcast that he'd be talking about this on or something?
No, this case just came out. He's on podcast talking about basketball, which he should be, right? That's what they do. But he immediately went off and attacked the sister. And then maybe he was going to attack the boyfriend after that. But the first person he attacked when he found them in bed together is the sister. And this was the sister's boyfriend or somebody she's interested in. I don't really care at the end of the day. I'm here to unpack this psychology a bit, the psychology of the reporting and the psychology of someone like Pat Bev when we talk about patriarchy and misogyny. Like, what does that actually look like? What does it look like to make a grown man punch his little sister in the face? Right? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Now, there are, some people are pointing out smoke, where there's smoke, there's fire. So I do want to, highlight what everyone is saying. He played basketball in Israel. I mean, a lot of NBA players. LeBron James supported Israel. And as far as I know, does not beat his wife and daughter. So, but that is a character flaw. I will point it out if he's not conscious. But this is, so there's two things. Thank you, Revolutionary Women's Radio. There's two forms of adultification I want to point out here. The adultification of Black girls, which is the main contradiction here in how he's seen her, or maybe even not. Maybe it's like she's a pure child. So I'd be careful with this. Because I do think Black girls are adultified, but in this case, I think the boy is being adultified. So, I mean, even 18 is an adult. According to the white man's law, okay, I guess. Who says that? And again, they don't care about that shit. Release the Epstein files. We know. So I think there has to be more nuance than just saying a random number white people picked is adulthood and everything before that isn't. And I deal with this a lot with youth, where young boys who are being thrown into this horrible American economy are being told, you're 18, get a job, so, provide for yourself. Like, this is not the 50s. We are not boomers. That is not something that is done in the job market, but also 18, go to the job market as an 18-year-old Black child. See how far you go. It's not how that works. So I like 18 and 15 is a senior and a sophomore in college, in high school, sorry, going to prom. That happens all the time, y'all. Like, I don't know how else we can ignore this, right? But if you go to high school, you can be 18, even 19 years old and have a sweetheart who you met when they were a sophomore or a freshman or something like that. That's just how it goes. So these are not people. This is not some grown man who stalked this girl, found her on Instagram, started hitting her behind the scenes, pulled up to her school when she was walking home and that kind of thing. This is not that. This is somebody who is in her social group, in her peer group, around her age. So I wanted to start there. That is not a man. Pat Bev at 37 is a man, a grown ass man. That 18-year-old boy running out the house, whatever, cool. That's the one thing. But I really wanted to get into, and again, thank you, Renee, because Renee works with youth as well. 18 is not an adult. 18, you're likely still a student, still on parents' asserts, still claiming on parents' taxes. You cannot drink, you cannot rent a car. Only thing you can do is go serve Cracker Uncle Sam and die. That's about it at 18. They're teens. They are teenagers. They are socially teenagers, all of those things. So yeah, go ahead.
No, I think it's, for me, it's like, again, I think in a hypothetical, at this point, it might be hypothetical to most of us who don't know anything about the story, haven't seen anything, still trying to figure it out. But even just looking at it, I just seeing multiple different things. One, she left the home, came back, somebody called him over. Another one you read, which I haven't seen yet, the boy was there, he ran. But the consistent thing is the way in which these media, news, human, whatever they're doing, they're like, oh, the middle of the night, and call the brother, and by themselves. He concerned about his sister. He don't have a criminal record. All those same like imaging thing to be like, but if he's concerned about his sister, and let's say, for instance, if the boy was assaulting her or whatever, or like aggressive, it seemed like he would have gone to defend his sister. And I don't know how his sister going to end choked with marks on her. Like, I don't know how that's going to end if you're really concerned about your sister. And then again, but it's the more concern for the scene the media has is like, we need to paint an image of a man protecting his sister. We don't really know the facts. And then Barstool, whoever that is, the people he worked for right now, they like, he gonna be on leave and figure it out. If anything is true about this story, then he's fired. He's not here anymore. And so it's kind of like I don't know. I don't know enough about the even know, but other things that was said, it just seems like a wild ass goose chase in terms of how they're trying to narrate this person and how. And I can already imagine how people are going to respond in terms of sports fans and then people who have this whack ass politics as it relates to gender. So we'll see.
Yep. And I mean, yes, the reporting is a massive problem, and so is this industry around this person, because we know that this is not going to be installed in a restorative way. That's not how this is done. I'm interested in the psychology around this misogyny, basically. First off, we know with femicide, with people being murdered in general, with homicide, you're likely to be killed by someone you know. Like, that's just generally how it goes. With femicide, it's even more likely that they are killed by their partners. They're sexually assaulted by their partners. That is the history, the trajectory with women. So he sees two people, and his first instinct is to go grab his sister, to grab a girl. That's crazy to me. I don't even, again, I'm not with the patriarchal whatever. You don't hit anybody, don't violate consent, period. But you are specifically going after the woman in the situation. You're specifically saying, I'm going to be the relative that kills you. Right? Crazy statement to say. You're punching your sister. I don't care if y'all tussle, if y'all do all those things. There is a size, there's a strength difference. You're a pro athlete. You're not even like most regular people in terms of your physical capacity. So all of that comes into this, to me, ownership. He feels like he should own as the man of the house. I don't know that situation. I'd be interested if he was told that, if maybe his father wasn't there, because that gets told to a lot of boys. You're the man of the house. You're the protector now. And then they become patriarchs at 8 years old. But I don't know that dynamic. But he feels like he owns his sister, like she's property, right? That's the only way you could say something like, I'm gonna kill you, get out, blah, blah, blah. He has this weird patriarchal purity politics as well. Yes, Senzi, I saw you pointed that out, definitely. He has this weird kind of purity politics that a lot of men have about women and virginity and innocence and all of that. Like, yo, this is a teenager having sex. Like, do we not watch every single piece of American media out there? Like, what are you? That's just a common thing. You can't watch a single show about high school now where the kids aren't having sex. So you find your sister having sex, and your response is to want to kill her, to traumatize her so deeply.
But you're concerned about it though. If you're concerned about it, you want to protect her. How the hell are you gonna end up killing her? I don't make.
Right. You know, and that's the thing. Again, it's the patriarchal protection. The protection comes at the cost of you are property. So you're only protected if you follow the script. If you are my good, innocent 15-year-old sister, she just goes to school. She doesn't even look at boys. You know, reminds me of the TI thing. I take my daughter to the doctor and I have them examine her hymen, right, to make sure she hasn't had sex yet, which is just like, one, I don't think any doctors are actually gonna follow through on that. So it's just a weird lie. But two, again, to me, it comes back to this idea, you are the patriarch. As a patriarch, you are in charge. You are supposed to protect. And that means that you have the monopoly on violence in the family unit. The patriarch is the one who's supposed to give the discipline. The patriarch is the one who's supposed to take people out, right, if they're a threat to the family. So that's how I'm seeing it. I still, even if you went for the boy, by the way, I would not appreciate that, right? Like anything in the situation is problematic as fuck. You saw young people having sex. The calm, rational, you know, empathetic reaction would be, all right, let's talk about this. So let's sit down. Oh, that's a good I'm even assuming.
Because this is my problem. Like it says the middle of the night. I don't think there's enough. Like I'm confused, bro. Like I don't think there's enough information that even make the story coherent. Like if you caught them in the middle of doing something, like how the fuck did you get there? And if you got called to the house and it was a boy walking, like I'm just confused about all that. And the chances are, like, if they're engaged in a particular act and you got to come to the house, how do you get to the house? How do you know that, like, it's just.
You're right. You're right. There's a lot of details that need to be.
But I think that lies sometimes the conflict of, like, when these things come up, like we're reacting off of not like things that we know, but we're reacting off of what we feel, our experience, with our politics, like all these things, and it's hypotheticals, and I'm like, bro, I don't even know what the fuck we talking about.
I hear you, and I would want full details, but I do think, I mean, we have the daughter who asked for this information, right? Like the 18-year-old boy. I do think there's enough here to know that an incident happened and what the incident was about. I hear you. Maybe they weren't having sex. I shouldn't assume that. The reason I was talking about that is because it does happen. And so I was assuming, assume that scenario. Let's say it didn't happen. That's fine. But if it is happening, if I walked in on my little sister who's 15 having sex with her boyfriend or a friend or anything, like, my reaction is not to choke her. That's just an insane reaction. It's a colonizer reaction to something. It's I gotta destroy this. Oh my God, it's so impure.
And listen, I think even there though, how are you gonna walk in unless you into somebody's room without being welcome?
Right, without even yeah, exactly. You don't knock. Thank you, Geechee. That's another thing. And I think I hadn't even read this paragraph, but we're here, like it's there at this piece where it says, his quote, "As I've said before, we don't believe that description in the affidavit is accurate, nor is it complete." So again, as we've said, maybe the details are not what we understand. And again, with reporting, with policing, with domestic violence and sexual assault stuff, we rarely do get the full story. Like, that's another point. And when we do, there's a lot of denial, back and forth, fake news that comes out about it, blah, blah, blah. This piece is where I'm focused on, though. Like, as I've said before, we don't believe that description in the affidavit is accurate, nor is it complete. Patrick is not a violent man and was not violent that night. I mean, we have evidence that this girl has choke marks around her. In fact, he was very respectful with the authorities that night and encouraged others to do the same. Okay.
Of course, because they got no monopoly on violence, nigga. That's why.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that doesn't convince me. Now, this part. He is the provider and protector of his family. exactly what I've seen this too many times, DT. Like I've seen this so much. I see it to this day, including his little sister and his mom. He has always looked out for their well-being and will continue to do so. I have every expectation that when all the facts are in, Patrick will be cleared of these charges. Until then, I can only ask everyone keep an open mind and not rush to judgment. Please remember this is America, and in our society, Patrick is innocent unless proven otherwise in the court of law. Oh man.
Yeah. So again, kind of to Renee's point, and this is why I was trying to find some other stuff. So Barstool, again, they said they're right wing and all these other things. They said if this stuff is true, based off of what they've heard, Patrick Beverly has a particular story. So now again, you know how these things happen, and like the sister that said she got hit with a brick, and then it come to find out it was something totally different or whatever. Like, if now we find out like the boy actually choked her, well, I don't know. I just don't know. I just don't really know enough to make a judgment. But like, I do think the framing already makes you. So the framing is interesting, and I guess this is media. The media framing gets reactions out of two different people. It try to engage people who think the men are supposed to protect and blah 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 or whatever, and then for us who have particular media analysis, like why the fuck are they trying to shape this dude like this and say this and he's not a violent? We're thinking about that, but really, like all of us are really gonna respond based off of that type of thing and kind of double down on it. Like, well, if he did it, and it is, which is difficult, right? But they're saying like the Barstool is like, well, we're gonna hold out until the details come out. Now, granted, the details don't really mean shit either because the evidence could be if the police, just like the niggas who write the media draw, they're gonna side with Pat Beverly too. So
right.
So yeah, it's just a hellish space where you see how Black women, especially young girls, are not even considered or protected or even have I guess the power of narrating what happened. Everything is, I think is that her statement who said that I'm gonna be the one to kill you? Did she say that?
That's a good question.
Because that would be the only statement that even made from her. Everybody else is getting to tell the story. The news people, Pat side, Barstool, but like, what is she saying?
Right, and this is based on court documents, but it is saying that she is claiming these things in these reports.
Okay.
So I want to be clear, because you're right, Renee. We want to be clear on this evidence. And if I'm wrong, again, I'm not the right. I'm not colonized. I have no problem being wrong. I love it. So if I'm wrong, cool. I will retract what I'm saying. But according to court documents viewed by the Post, Beverly's sister claims these things. And so she claims, being her sister, that the NBAer squeezed her neck, causing her to feel pain and leaving her feel she was going to lose oxygen, not be able to breathe. And again, to the point about the media and the police and all these things, again, these statements could be coerced, doctored, any of those things. I'm open to that. But from what I was reading, there was enough clear foundational information to understand what happened. And my other point would be this. Celebrities aren't our focus on BLM. We talk about this a lot. The reason we talk about them is because, one, they're obviously being used for an agenda. And they already talked about Nicki Minaj yesterday and the UN and the Black misleadership class. So we focus on them for their political functions, but also because they often are members of our community or represent members of our community. And so we want to highlight the contradictions that naturally exist among our people. And so that's something I just want to point out. Even if Pat Bev, he's just an illustration of something I've seen before. I've seen this kind of situation happen with people who aren't Pat Bev. I've heard of stories like this. It is far more common than it isn't, unfortunately. So maybe Pat Bev is not someone who did this, but there are plenty of people who are. And this kind of psychology that I'm reading about choking her out and I'm going to kill you and all of that, it exists out here. So that's my take on it. People are talking, okay, now we're off of Pat Bev and talking to Pat Mahomes. Okay, so we switched all the athletes. Listen, man, we ain't doing celebs. Like it will be here all day.
Broke dudes in the chat. I don't know what's going on.
Right. No. I think it was as he said, broke dudes do the same thing. Right. Again, it's not about the celebrity. It is about the patriarchal psychology. And that's what again, like to me, the fact that I hadn't even read the last paragraph and I already knew that I'm the protector of this family, I'm the man of the house type shit. I've heard that, ad nauseum. So without Pat Bev, I already knew how this story kind of unfolds. More details might come out, and his case and Barstool and all of them will figure out how to protect their assets. And as we heard him say, cooperate with police. That's what he did. So yeah, it was the 40s, and this is America where you're innocent. So
So I one of the things that Dr. Ashley Farmer was talking about in Queen Mother Moore's book, how Queen Mother Moore was a very complicated woman and had particular types of growing pains, and her gender analysis was trash. But in the early parts of the book, it was talking a lot about how like her father again was elite. Her mother family was kind of well off. Her father family was well off. But then when her father declined, his health declined, he died. On his deathbed, he was like, "Your brother's gonna take care of you." And then immediately, her brother said, "Y'all get the fuck out the house." He kicked them out the house, and so her and her two younger sisters had to go figure shit out. And like this conversation around like the one of the middle sisters, they had to like marry a man who was well off and then who was a military or something like that, and then he took care of the three of them, and then there was like this thing of so I'm interested in seeing discussions around that, because when it gets to class and gender and dynamics, class dynamics and gender, I'm just wondering how people are like talking through around like what are people doing for survival versus like how we showing up today, how that relate to our gender politics. But yeah, it's because even this idea of like this strong provider type stuff, like in the economy that you're in, and then the other side of the aisle, the conversations around like broke niggas, and you have people like Charlemagne saying like if you don't make six figures, then he's not the only one. You don't make six figures, then you shouldn't be having sex at all. And I mean, it's
back to eugenics. We doing eugenics again, baby. Yeah. Oh man. I appreciate that. That's actually I know we have to follow up on our feminism conversation, but one resource I always recommend on this subject is again looking at the Black community historically. So I love Angela Davis's Women, Race, and Class. That's a classic. But there's also, if y'all have not seen this, and I will probably add it to the remix glossary, this book, Intro to Afro-American Studies, a People's College Primer, is amazing. Like I was looking my whole life for a Black textbook, like just the Black people textbook. When Black History Month comes around and they make you watch something racist for the millionth time, and you're like, yo, can we do anything else? And then they tell the students, you have to figure out the curriculum. This is what I was looking for back in high school. So this is really good. There are a bunch of volumes, so I recommend people read through those. Like volume 4 is different than volume 6, but volume 6 is the one that like Jared and them use in schools and textbooks. And it has a bunch of chapters. Each chapter breaks down Black people historically through our periods in the US. So from the slave period to our rural kind of peasant sharecropper period to the urban wage slave kind of thing. So they keep following us through. And one chapter that still needs to be updated, but I thought was really important, was Black women in the family. So what you were describing about class, about period, again, time period affects how people view certain things like feminism. Check out Jared's recent interview on Algeria and feminism and when they talked about that. But this goes through the slave period, the rural period. It talks about capitalism and how, for example, when we entered the sharecropper system, we needed big families to work the land. And so when white settlers would talk to Black farmers, Black people who had their own row houses or sharecroppers and things like that, they made you sign a contract. And because of their own patriarchal laws, the only people who were allowed to sign contracts were men. So we see specifically from the slave to the Jim Crow period, we saw capitalism transform our family relationship. So that is like, I point to people about policy, a specific place where policy introduced patriarchy into the Black community, where only Black men were allowed to sign for property. And so Black men become the stewards of the home, the stewards of the land, that kind of thing, in addition to needing large families to tend to the plantation. So that kind of stuff I really appreciate, because it helps us see how you get from patriarchy in a rural period to patriarchy in the urban period with the Moynihan report and that kind of thing, to patriarchy that we're dealing with now with the manosphere and CIA 50-50 dating content on our algorithms and things like that. So just wanted to highlight that resource.
Well, disparities and charity.
We're gonna go over it definitely. But I think, we over time. I completely lost track of time. So we can start moving to our close. What you got going on this weekend, Geechee?
Man, I am stressed out about trying to get all these seniors, these turkeys, man. Lord Jesus, Lord. It's a lot of these people have caps on how many turkeys you can get or buy, and then then a bulk discounts. And so I'm just trying to run and gobble up all the turkeys. So I give them out. We have some different things we're doing with the tenants the next couple weeks. Just locked in with that.
You got work to do, man. You ain't slowing down.
I'm gonna get off. I got a meeting at 10. I'm supposed to be helping my the sister out with her. She have a revolutionary summer program for young sisters in Baltimore, and there's gonna be a young brothers version of it. So we both be talking about getting that starting. But
yeah. What I got going on in Miami? We've been painting at the park. Shout out Charles Hadley Park. Shout out Black Men Build, Poetry Potluck, things like that. So we are painting the skate park. It is going to look dope. We did the rails. We're doing designs. We're filling in the cracks so the babies don't trip when they roll, bounce. So I'm excited about that skate park effort. So if you are in Miami, check out the Poetry Potluck. Check out Black Men Build Miami if you want to volunteer as far as painting the skate park at Charles Hadley. Also, we are giving out food for our folks every single day except Sundays. So Comrade Josh, you saw in the chat, gave out some food. Lots of people are giving out food, not just for Thanksgiving, because we're going to be doing turkey drives and things like that, but also because of what's been going on with SNAP. And we need to step up our mutual aid efforts and organize our people and support our families. So volunteer with the Freedom Lab, with the Smile Trust, with Black Men Build. If you want to give out food in our communities every single day except Sundays, volunteer with the Black Men Build or the Poetry Potluck if you want to come and paint a skate park for the kids. And I saw an amazing documentary with some BAP folks, some BAP South folks yesterday on the heroes of Massacre River. It's about the canal project that's been going on in Haiti. Very inspiring work. Very clear that Haitian people keep our socialist consciousness alive. I recommend you check out the film if you can. Again, Heroes of Massacre River. We had the professor who helped put that together and her organization P4F come down and screen that documentary. So Kanala, oh my goodness, I messed Kanala Pakampe, which means the canal will not stop in Creole. So that's what they had us saying yesterday. Haiti made the World Cup. Haiti's been going crazy. We just want to show our love to the Haitian people, and definitely check that out if you haven't. So that's what I got going on this weekend. And we have potentially Chris Payne's team coming on next week. Are we going to confirm that?
Yeah. I think they said they could go for next week.
Cool. So we will confirm. This is a case of a brother who has been wrongfully incarcerated in Japan. We're going to discuss how he came to be wrongfully incarcerated, the case, its current status, and how we can support here. on the platform. But if y'all are interested, check out Innocent Project Japan, where they talk about his case, where he's been wrongfully accused, where they falsified evidence, where he was put in solitary confinement. It's very tragic to see what happens to our people around the world in these capitalist hellholes that they live in. So definitely want to revisit that next week, and we'll talk more about it, but read up on it if you haven't. Check out how you can support. H. Rap Brown, Jamil Alameen as well. I'm going to put some information about him and how we can write letters to him. It seems like he will be transitioning into an ancestor soon. And so we want to still support him. And his son is out here posting that as well. So I just dropped that in the chat too. But that's all I got. Like, share, subscribe. Again, support us on Patreon. And as Chairman Fred Hampton used to say, and Jared says, peace if you're willing to fight for it. We'll see you.
Peace, y'all. I can't do that. Getting out.
Remix. 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 Remix.